When is the right time to quit your job, to quit school, to quit whatever your current responsibilities are as an entrepreneur? I get asked this question all the time, and it's so funny because when you're in that spot, and I was there too. I was, going to school full time, and I didn't know if I should drop out. I didn't know if I should keep going to school. My business partner David was a full-time high school math teacher. He didn't know if he should quit even when our business started going well, because you lose that sense of security. But now that I've been through it, and it's been several years since then, I've realized what you need in order to make that decision and when is the right time to make that decision. So in this video, I'm going to break down that exactly. The first thing is you have to ask yourself, well, are you quitting? Are you making this decision because you hate your job? There's a lot of people that I've coached and worked with through the years. They like join one of our programs, for example, or they start, it doesn't have to be a program. They start on a new business, or a friend of mine, they start on a new business. And like before the business even takes off, they quit their job. And it's like, well, you've been doing this business for a week. What if you don't even like it? Right? You might not like it, or maybe you love it, but you haven't made any money with it yet. And that's you're rushing it, and they're doing it because they hate their current situation. Say, I would recommend all of you, if you are in the boat of you hate your current job, you hate your going to school, you hate doing whatever it is, I would recommend you actually stay in it longer. And the reason why is because that passion, that hatred of what you're doing right now is going to fuel you to work the extra hours to get out of it permanently. But if you quit early, what's going to happen is you're going to quit early. You're going to get out of that situation. You're going to be less driven to actually make this thing a success, okay, in most cases. And then, you're going to end up right back at another job anyways. So you might as well really enjoy the suffering that you've been given, right? Enjoy this hatred of this job and this school, whatever it is, and keep working on your business. So that's number one. Now, let's say you love your job and you're like, well, I just want to know when financially when it makes sense. And that's a little bit of a different question at that point. You have to ask yourself, well, what are your financial goals? Let's say your financial goal is to make $20,000 a month. And at your current job, you're making $6,000 a month. At what point do you say, okay, well, I love my job, but it's holding me back? Because let's say you get your surplus fund business to $6,000 a month and you've got your job at $6,000 a month. Well, you're making 12. Obviously, if you quit your job, you're back down to 6. So what I did when I was going to school, and I wasn't a huge fan of school, but I didn't hate it, right? But when I made the decision was when I realized that if I went full time into my business, I could 3 or 5x it within 3 to 6 months. And I wasn't going to be able to do that if I didn't have the full time into it. And at that point, my company was already doing about $30,000 a month in revenue. I was in school, and I remember the straw that broke the camel's back for me was I was in class, and I had my phone on the desk. And I wasn't checking anything. I wasn't on the phone. But my professor was walking by, and I had popped up that I had received, some money. Like one of my businesses had made a sale, and I had made some money. And then he got mad at me for that, right? Because he was like, "Oh, you're on your phone, right?" And I'm just like, what am I doing here, right? Like, we're doing $30,000 a month. It's like $1,000 a day in revenue. Why am I sitting in class with a bunch of 19-year-old kids that, just want to party all the time? I don't know. It didn't make any sense. And then I ended up leaving, and, I bet on myself for 6 months. I said, look, if I can get this company double in the next 6 months, then I'll count this as a win. And that's what I did. I ended up, this was in December, not this past December, but many years ago. It was in, towards the end of Christmas time when that semester ended. I said, I'm not going to go to school this semester. January, when the company went down, it scared me. February went down even more. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to have to go back to school. And then all of a sudden, March, we blew up. We went, we were down at that point to like $15,000 a month, and we blew up to over $110,000 in 1 month, right? And that's because I was just 12 hours a day, all day, like, we have to get this done, right? So if you're in a spot like that where your time that you're spending on your current day job is holding you back from your business, it's holding back the growth of your business, and you have to be really objective about this, right? How many hours a day are you spending on your business? Has your business plateaued? Was it growing and it stopped growing because you're not spending any more time on it? If it has, then you should consider leaving your job or your school or whatever it is that you're doing. The last thing I'll say, something to think about too. A lot of people I've noticed in the entrepreneur community, there's different types of entrepreneurs. And I don't have names for all of them, but like one of the types of entrepreneurs I see is like the guy or girl that has a day job that they like, but they know it's holding them back from growing their business, but they don't do anything about it because they're like, well, I've got a great retirement. I've got a great this. I've got a great that. And that was David. And David was even worse because he didn't like his job. He liked teaching, but he didn't like the circumstances he was in. And anyways, it's a whole long story that I'm sure he can tell you on his channel. Go check him out, David Church on YouTube. But he didn't like his job, but he was scared to leave because of the security that it brought, and more importantly, because of the retirement. As being a teacher, you get a great retirement plan. And he was like, I don't know if I want to leave. And I'm like, well, dude, you're talking about retirement, like you could be making $7,000, $8,000 a month in retirement, or whatever it was, right? But between 5 and 10,000, I don't remember how much it was in retirement monthly income, which on paper sounds great. Here's the thing: if this business does what we want it to do, and it's already trending that way, so it's not like we don't have evidence for this. It's trending that way. We're doing $100,000 a month in sales. You could build a retirement that makes you $50,000 a month, $100,000 a month, if you're smart. Right? And I know you're a smart guy. And so he thought about that, and he was like, you're right. Like, I have this false sense of security with this retirement, but the reality is I don't have any control over it, number one. And number two is, if the only reason I'm staying in this job is for a retirement check and I'm making $100,000 a month over here, that doesn't make any sense, especially if you don't like the job. So that's the other thing that I would be wary of when you're making a decision to leave is, am I doing this simply because of some outcome, some financial outcome? Because the reality is that your business, the best return on investment that you're going to have with your time is working on your business, right? Like, I mean, I've been blessed to have crazy investments. I've talked to you guys about FEG before, that I put in 3,000 hours, it goes up to $4 million, right? That's pretty rare that it's going to happen, but I've seen it, right? Even with that, like, my best use of my time is working on my business, because what if I get my business to $4 million a month? Why can't I do that? I'm the one that controls it. Of course I can do that, right? So that's my point, is just remember that you, with your business, you're building your own investment, right? You're building your own asset. You're not relying on your job, some other investment vehicle that you have no control of. You're betting on yourself. If you're watching this channel, I can pretty much guarantee that you are somebody you should bet on, because you're spending the time to watch these videos. So hopefully that makes sense. Drop a like down below if you like this. Comment your thoughts. I've been thinking about this a lot because people have been asking me all the time. And if you have questions like this, I'd love to help you guys out with these. Drop some comments down below and let me know how I can help. So with that being said, I will see you guys on the next video.